Danielle Howard is a certified financial planner, author, speaker, that's why we brought her on, a personal finance thought leader. I've read the book, and it's very thought-provoking. I've read Danielle's book, not the book. Her 24 years of client engagement and financial world experience has led her to become a catalyst for change around the financial tools, techniques, and temperaments that construct a person's financial life. Her holistic, integrative approach on money, mindsets, this follows suit with what we've done in the past. Our diversity, mindset, we've had a lot of these themes. Danielle has very graciously and ably picked up on our history here at ProFair and the company. And financial decisions guides people on a journey of financial wellness, very challenging for all of us. Bridging the gap between Wall Street and Main Street, she brings complex financial topics and concepts down to earth. She's breaking down the taboo topics of the past, money, to engage, educate, and encourage her audiences. Danielle owns Wealth by Design in beautiful downtown Basalt. She and her team take a personal interest in your financial well-being, genuinely. So please, a warm welcome from all of us for Danielle.
Good evening. Thank you for choosing my little breakout session, and I know you will leave with some good material to think about. So my name is Danielle Howard. I was born and raised in Colorado. My skiing started when I was about 13 years old. My dad was part of the Kiwanis group in Arvada, Colorado, and I hit the hill up at A Basin. Learned on the tow rope and the T-bar, and after a few weeks of that, we headed over to Keystone. So one Sunday afternoon, we were at Keystone, and after lunch and a morning of getting up and falling down and getting up and falling down, made our way to the chairlift. Got up to the top of the hill, headed over to the side. My skis went over the edge. I looked over and went, shaking in my boots. And somebody pushed me and said, "Here you go." Well, your theme, is it okay? Do we have enough audio that I can talk like this? Okay. The theme of your evening tonight is transitions. So as I stood on the hill, it was a mountain, it was high. It's terrifying. I was not prepared. I had great rental skis on. I had a really fun ski outfit on. And as I looked at what was going to happen next, when somebody said, "Okay, go," I was terrified. How many life transitions around finances have you gotten yourself into or found yourself at, or maybe on the verge of, that have you kind of with that tummy angst when somebody says, "Okay, go"? It may be when you got out of college, or when you went to college and you go through the lines and they hand you that credit card and go, "Okay, go." Or when you walk down the aisle and look that special person into their eyes and you knew there was going to be financial decisions that needed to be made. "Okay, go." It might have been starting a business. Or it may be transitioning towards retirement or rewirement, as I call it. So there's all sorts of financial transitions out there. And what we need to do is we need to look at what true financial health means. So what I'd like you to do to start out with is just to turn to somebody and think of a financial transition that you've either experienced in the past or that you may be on the edge of, how it makes you feel, and what you're anticipating as somebody says, "Okay, go." Now's the time you get to talk for a few moments. So as you look at your financial transitions, we want to look at what is true financial health. I've been in the financial services industry in many iterations over the past 24 years, and I know what it is not. It is not a product. It is not a sales pitch. What it is a journey. It's a process. It's looking at a lifetime of strategic changes in dealing with where you're at in life, the tools that you have at any given time, using them wisely, and preparing yourself to move on to the next phase of life. So as you look at whatever transition you're in, we need to take a look at how do we do it in a healthy way. So I do a lot of analogies with physical health and financial health. And we know that just because your refrigerator is full of food doesn't mean that you're eating healthy. Or just because I've got a really cool pair of skis and a really nice ski outfit, I may not know how to get down that hill with any form, function, technique, or mindset that is going to have me enjoying my day. So we have to look at the integration of our mind, our body, our spirit, and how it impacts all of this stuff we call finance. And on my website, I've got what's called a monetary manifesto and a financial affirmation. So I look at, there's 4 components of a healthy financial life. How do you bring money into your life with integrity, dignity, competency, grace, and joy? How do you give of your financial resources with moxie and momentum? How do you protect and nurture your financial resources with diligence, wisdom, and care? And then how do you spend with joyful intention, but within safe boundaries? So those are the 4 areas: how money comes in, how you give it, how you grow it, protect it, and how you spend it. So many times the financial services industry tells us, oh, it's all just about getting to that distant picture down the road. And it is so much more than that. It could be so much richer than that. And so as you guys look at, you've got a family here at the Aspen Ski Company, and we have a family here in this valley, and we're all doing this together. And so what I really want to encourage people to do is let's change the conversation around money. Let's look how to use it in our lives in a way that kind of moves us towards that financial health. So tonight we're going to be talking about 3 different aspects of financial health. We're going to talk about how to recognize, how to revitalize, and how to move in a direction of responding and then releasing true financial health. So when we look at recognizing, we want to create an awareness of many different areas of our money. First, our money personalities. Do you ever think that you have a financial personality? It's a whole body of research that is out there, and in my book, I compare it to the seasons, to the 4 elements: fire, water, earth, and water. And so I think of a fire financial personality as maybe the entrepreneur. You're always taking risk. You're always ready to just go for it. You go through money really, really quickly, and you know there'll always be something the next. The earth personality is more that, you'd rather put your money under the mattress than to take risk with it. You're very focused on maybe planning or saving or being conservative. And there's nothing right or wrong about these financial personalities. We just want to use them correctly, knowing that they've got opportunities and they've got some challenges that inherently go with them. So creating an awareness of who you are around money, what it means to you. You want to you want to recognize the financial tools that you have. So this is when we start getting down to the numbers piece. What do you have in a 401k? What do you have in savings? Do you have a spending plan? What kind of insurances do you have? What does your home equity look like? What are all the financial tools that you have out there Or if you're real young, you might not have too much, which leads us to we need to recognize your character assets. So much in this valley, we focus on financial assets, the big houses, the nice cars. But there is a lot to be said for character assets. And if you're young and just getting started in your financial life, those are actually going to be much more worthwhile to you. So to take a look at what might your character assets be. Are you creative? Are you resourceful? Are you hardworking? Are you diligent? Those are character assets that will pay off for you in the short term and in the long run, giving whatever financial or life season that you are in. So as you weigh out, do you recognize your financial assets and liabilities? You look at your character assets and liabilities. You start recognizing that there is a lot more to your self-worth than just your net worth. And I think that's really, really important for us to understand in a world that kind of identifies us by what we have, that we are so much more than just our investment accounts or our pocketbooks. Then we want to take a look at revitalizing. So we create an awareness, and then we need to look at what kind of strategic shifts might we need to do, whether it's our financial assets or our personal characteristic or assets. So as you go home tonight, we'll talk about some things you can take away from here. But know that just because you have financial tools doesn't mean they're static. Just as we know we need to, wax our skis or make sure our equipment is functioning properly, or you need to be out on the slopes grooming the slopes. Everything needs to be cared for given the conditions that we're facing. So if we're experiencing a summer economic season, which we are doing right now, and I anticipate it's going to go on for a little while longer, how do we want to have our assets, our financial assets positioned to take advantage of that growth? But depending on what life season you're in, you also need to make some shifts in those financial assets. So it's your financial life is never static any more than your personal life is. So taking a look at how to revitalize those different pieces. So what I would like you to do is, again, we're going to take just a few moments for you guys to talk a little bit to yourselves. And I would like you to connect with one of those financial pieces. So I talked about you need to look at how you bring money into your life. You need to look at how you give it. You need to look at how you grow it and protect it. And you want to consider how you spend it. So pick one of those areas and turn to a person next to you and talk a little bit. And I really appreciate you talking to each other, because this is my whole thing, is we need to be okay talking about money. And it's a safe space. What gets said here won't get taken out of here. But share with them, what one of those areas would you like to see a 1% difference in your financial health? Thank you. So as you look at what you need to do to revitalize, and maybe just make a 1% shift, 1% change in the trajectory. Many of you are ski instructors, and you know what a little shift in how what you're sharing with your clients, how that can just change their entire experience. And it's the same way with every aspect of your financial life. Sometimes people go, I just need to, do 180 degrees. And that's not the case. Every little bit makes a big difference. And that's actually when they look at changing habits, and that is actually the best way to do it, is those small changes, and then you want to build on your wins. So what is another way to revitalize your financial life? You want to educate yourself. When you're dealing with money every day, we kind of think, we know about this stuff. I'm in the business. I really do deal with this stuff every day, and it is constantly changing. The tools that are out there, what they're doing around behavioral finance and how our monies work on money, how our minds work on money, it's fascinating. Do you know that when you go to Vegas and you win, or when your stock goes up 10%, that it actually releases the same chemicals in your brain that happens when you're high on cocaine? So we need to understand what happens in our brains when we make financial decisions, and so we need to educate ourselves. So, it's winter. I always love reading in the winter. That's my time to really start just taking it all in. So get a good book. I actually know of one that's available over at Explore Booksellers. Find that accountability partner. My husband and I have been together for over 25 years, and we've gone through our different waves of financial conversations, some better than others, and it's taken us about 25 years to get to the place where we can do it, and it works out pretty well. So I know it takes a risk to talk to people about money, but go ahead and take that risk. Find somebody that can walk alongside you, that can hold you accountable, or that can support you. There's so many people that are affected by your financial choices, and working together on setting goals or taking a look at what's important is going to help you move towards success than trying to do it on your own. And that is the beauty, again, of having an employer that wants to support you in learning about this stuff. They want to support you in different areas, whether it's around your 401k or helping folks out before they get the lifts up and going and actually have full-time employment. So we need to work together when we have challenges and when we're embracing the opportunities. Share your stories and what is working, what isn't working. The final piece is, how do you want to respond and release your financial power, release your financial health? We all have to make those 1% changes. Those 1% changes actually entail you stepping into something and doing something different. So tonight, we've been talking about a variety of different things. It may be that you leave tonight and you decide, I'm going to put together a spending plan. Now, a spending plan is very different from what a budget is. Anybody hate the word budget? That's telling you what you can't spend. That's not any fun. Budgets don't work. But what you can do is create a spending plan. That makes it intentional. That gives you the power to tell your money where to go instead of asking where it went. So in creating a spending plan, the idea behind that is, how do you spend within safe boundaries and joyful intention? Again, we can look at the ski company analogy. Get out on the slopes. We know there are boundaries up there for reasons. We know they're up to protect your clients, protect yourself. And if you ski outside of those boundaries, what happens? You either take your pass away, send mountain rescue after you, and get caught in an avalanche. Well, it's the same thing with our financial lives. If we don't know what our safe boundaries are, and it's very hard to know what they are nowadays because we have technology. Man, you open up Facebook right now and the Christmas gifts and stuff is flying at your face, and it's so easy to push a button and a drone drops it off at your house the next day. It's really hard to connect with our financial decisions. And unless we're really intentional about staying within our safe boundaries, the credit card debt gets out of hand, relationships start to struggle because you're arguing about money, and we incur a lot of pain in a lot of different ways. So spending within safe boundaries is very similar to skiing within safe boundaries. Another way to look at safe boundaries is, and looking at what kind of risk you're comfortable with, is in your asset allocation. So as you look at how you might want to respond tonight, When was the last time you reviewed your 401k or your IRA? Or how your investments are positioned out there. Are they set for where you're at, what life season you're in, what economic season you're in, what financial life season, when do you need that money? So that's what I call a financial life season, in saying if I don't need this money for another 20 years, maybe I'm willing to take a little bit more risk. But you know what? I've never liked skiing black diamonds anyway. So, you need to think about, why do you want to take a risk with your money? And if you're comfortable with it, what is the proper way to do it? How do you want to review and rebalance your investments based on how much risk you're willing to take, or what your time frame is, or how comfortable you are with black diamonds or green circles? So, as you look at what you can take away tonight, look at what you want to do with the tools you have. Do you need to revisit a spending plan? Do you need to revisit your 401k? If you haven't signed up for the ski company 401k, do it. It's free money. You contribute to it and they do a match. So there's no reason why you shouldn't be contributing to a 401k. I've heard the excuse, I don't have enough. It's hard to make it, in this valley. And I understand right now, maybe even more so until the slope's open. But there are ways. If you look at your character assets and you are creative and resourceful, there are ways that you can put a little bit of your paycheck away. Instead of going out one extra night a month, that goes to your 401k. They match it a little bit. And you have friends over to play games and have a potluck dinner. We need to start changing the conversation about what it means to be successful. That it just doesn't mean that you've got a big bank account or big investment account or a big house. It means so much more than that. And as we're able to start changing that conversation and start changing our behaviors around the financial choices that we're making, we'll build more sustainability in our homes, in our relationships, in our work life. It's this virtuous cycle that can keep perpetuating itself. So you want to look at how you respond relationally. How do you have those conversations? How do you keep those conversations going in the right direction? How you make your choices. I encourage you all to stop shooting on yourselves. Stop shooting on yourselves and stop shooting on your family members. I should put together a budget. I should, look at how my investments are allocated. I should have better communication skills around everything financial. When we talk about, I should do things, that puts us in a position of pressure, and it doesn't get us anywhere. But if we shift that verbiage and say, I choose to, that puts you in a position of potential, of possibilities, of power. And so I would like you to turn to each other, and again, based on kind of what area of your financial life, whether it was how money comes in, how you give it, how you grow or protect it, or how you spend it, let's have a choose to. I choose to take something from here tonight to do differently. So turn to each other and look somebody in the eye and choose to do something differently. So again, this is what starts the upward cycle of doing our money differently. When we start talking about it, when we make it okay to talk about it, when we're okay being a little bit vulnerable. Another piece that I think is a huge part of financial health is forgiving ourselves and forgiving others about financial mishaps. We've all done stupid stuff that has affected ourselves. We've all done things that have affected other people. And when I talk about financial forgiveness, people go, wow, that's out there. But I really think it holds us back if we don't forgive ourselves and say, I can let go of this, and today is a new day, and it's time to move on. So as you look at what you want to take away today, what you want to do just a little bit differently, know that you are perfectly capable of it, that there is a ton of resources out there to walk alongside you in the various aspects, whether it is getting down and dirty to the nitty-gritty number side. There's, you find a coach, find a financial advisor, read a book, take a course, do something that. If you want to improve your relationships around money, just find a time that is not at the end of the week when everybody's tired or the kids have been all over the place and you've got a quick 10 minutes or you're emotional. Carve out a space that now's a good time for us to talk about this. Look at what kind of goals you want to accomplish. It might be a short-term goal of getting out of debt. It may be a midterm goal of buying a home. It may be a long-term goal of creating an estate plan that reflects what's important to you in life. So pick a goal, set to task. Know that every 1% change in what you do is going to head you in the right direction. Stay encouraged. Surround yourself with people that are going to support you and encourage you. And if you're hanging out with people that are, going out every night and spending a ton of money and struggling with it, you'll be the leader in doing it a little bit differently. And we want to look at, again, what Ski Company is putting together here, looking at love and commitment and unity and respect. And look at all of the ways you can reflect that with your financial choices. And that we are a valley and a company and a group of people that, if we start doing our money differently, if we start talking about it differently, if we start making more intentional decisions, that is going to, again, bring peace in our relationships, more peace of mind at home. You're going to be less stressed at work. The value of having financial health is just as important as having physical health, spiritual health, relational health. It all goes together.